Hello, class. My name is Christian Foster. This is my research design screencast, Sociology 200. My hypothesis: being homeless is the major contributing factor to being and remaining homeless. I know that sounds crazy, but give me a second, I'll explain. The research technique I chose to investigate the hypothesis is the evaluation research technique. It's a type of study that uses standard social research methods for evaluative purposes. I chose this one because it assesses the effect of policies, programs on people and society. That's to include laws, regulations, and norms. The questions that I would ask during my evaluation is, how did you become homeless? What are you doing to address your homelessness? And what roadblocks have you ran into? Ethical issues. Scammers and panhandlers. These are people who are not really homeless, but instead are taking advantage of resources meant for homeless and the community's generosity. As you can see by the image, meant to be a joke, baby that says can't speak, can't walk, no teeth, no job, dirty diaper, got. And on the next image, you have a man on the corner of the sign. If you can't see it, it says, can't get a job because of my lousy credit rating. Then it says, can't raise my credit rating because I have no job, which is essentially a catch-22. Then it says society has different standards for those with resources and those who lack them, which I go into later in the slides. This research could be used to combat the main issues that plague the homeless when trying to find a job. Recently, there have been a few individuals and nonprofit groups that have recognized these issues and have tried to address them. The two I have chose to highlight are Lava May, which is the Showers on Wheels. They provide showers for the homeless in the form of a transient bus turned into a shower unit, and their site says that they're giving 2,000 showers a week to homeless. The next is the street barber, regular barber who goes around and cuts and styles the homeless hair, with no stipulation attached to it. On that slide, I'm discussing the resources that aren't available to the homeless, and it says, when you don't have consistent access to, and specifically I want to point out digital access or literacy, hygiene such as shaving, shelters, address to receive mail, and business attire / clean clothes, because what my research would have discovered, or which is kind of already known, is that everyone's not computer savvy and everybody doesn't have access to get on computers. In this day and age, everything is mostly computers, applications. Everything you have to do has to be done online. Hygiene, and specifically shaving, is if they're going for an interview and they don't have these resources, they're gonna go in there jacked up and goes to business attire and clean clothes. Well, that most of the time they only have what they have on, or other things like that, alternative set, which aren't any good, and it's not appropriate for business, for a meeting, for an interview. Similar address to receive mail, because a lot of people still do a lot of mail outs in email. And I know for state of Alabama, for those jobs, everything's cards in the mail. If you don't have an address, how are you going to receive those notifications? And shelter, because I want to touch on shelter, because if you're staying in a homeless shelter, they have cutoff times. You have to be there to reserve a bed for that night. You have to do it every night. Say the time is 4:30. You have to leave. If you do have a job, you have to leave early, which might cause you to lose your job, just so you can try to reserve a spot to have somewhere to sleep later on that night. The criminalization of homeless. These are laws that affect homeless in a big way, and that's simply because these laws give homeless people who don't have records criminal records, which makes it even harder later on to get certain jobs. There's a saying that everyone's one illness, one accident, or one paycheck away from being homeless and living on the street. I would like to conclude by saying, again, my name is Christian Foster, and this concludes my screencast. Thanks for your time.